We've been gaming since the early 90s, and it got us thinking, which classic game IPs have been missing in action for over 20 years? As we get older and look back at our childhood and early teens, it's clear just how many amazing games we grew up with. But which of these franchises truly deserve a comeback? Which worlds do we miss the most? Here are our top 5 wishes for long-lost IPs that deserve a brand new entry. And yes, as always, this list is 100% subjective. If you disagree or have a better list of your own, drop it in the comments. We're always up for a good discussion. Number 5. Yes, we know this one is controversial because of World of Warcraft, but it still blows our minds that Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne, came out all the way back in 2003. It made sense at the time for Blizzard to prioritize World of Warcraft, but in doing so, their RTS roots slowly disappeared, and now it's 10 years since their last RTS game. Nothing lasts forever, sure, but the foundation of Warcraft's lore is incredibly strong, and we truly want a return to the classic RTS formula. Warcraft 3 remains one of the best real-time strategy games ever made, and the time for something new feels long overdue. A potential Warcraft 4 could merge the deep storytelling and tactical gameplay of the originals with modern design lessons from games like StarCraft 2, Iron Harvest, or other contemporary RTS titles. It could finally bridge the gap between Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft, dive into unexplored lore, and offer huge multiplayer battles, hero-driven mechanics, or even co-op campaigns. We know Blizzard in 2025 isn't the same studio that released Warcraft 3, but come on, Blizzard, it's time. Number 4. Dino Crisis from 1999 was created by Capcom legend Shinji Mikami, the mastermind behind the Resident Evil series. It carried the same tense, survival horror vibe as classic 90s Resident Evil, but this time, zombies were replaced with dinosaurs, making it one of the most unique horror games of its era. The sequel arrived in 2000, and Dino Crisis 3 launched in 2003 on the original Xbox to mixed reviews. And since then, 2 full decades of silence. No sequels, no remakes, no reboots, just nothing. Back in the early 2000s, Capcom struggled creatively and financially, but today, they're one of the strongest developers in the industry, dropping hit after hit and proving they know how to revive old franchises with style. So imagine this, a modern Dino Crisis built with today's technology. A true survival horror game where you are the one being hunted. Open world environments, co-op modes, PvE, PvP encounters. There are endless directions Capcom could take. And honestly, even a faithful remake of the first 2 games would be incredible. The possibilities with modern tools are insane. And let's be real, Capcom, this would print money. Who doesn't love dinosaurs and horror together? Number 3. The first Soul Reaver launched in 1999, followed by Soul Reaver 2 in 2001 on the PlayStation 2. Since then, Raziel has been very quiet. The last time we saw Raziel was in Legacy of Kain Defiance in 2003. That means it's been over 20 years since Raziel starred in his own adventure. When Soul Reaver first arrived on the original PlayStation, it felt unlike anything else. Its signature mechanic, shifting between the material and spectral realms, was groundbreaking in 1999. Players could solve puzzles, alter environments, and outmaneuver enemies simply by slipping into another plane of existence. The combat gave you freedom to dispatch foes with the Soul Reaver blade, environmental kills, impalements, and more. The world of Nosgoth remains one of gaming's most atmospheric settings. Gothic ruins, decaying empires, tragic fallen vampires, and a story full of prophecy and time loops. Amy Hennig, who later became famous for Uncharted, wrote the series' rich narrative, and the voice acting, particularly Tony Jay as the Elder God and Michael Bell as Raziel, is still legendary. With modern tech, a new Soul Reaver could be incredible. Seamless realm-shifting, dynamic environments that react to your plane, expanded traversal, and brutal combat inspired by modern Soulsborne design. Imagine giving the license to From Software or even Bluepoint, masters of remakes, or Crystal Dynamics, returning to their roots with today's resources. There were even canceled attempts, the most notable being Legacy of Kain, Dead Sun, a full AAA reboot that was deep into development before being scrapped. That shows there was interest, it just didn't reach the finish line. The only thing we don't want from a revival? Another infamous cliffhanger that never gets resolved. If you know, you know. Number 2. G-Police and its sequel G-Police Weapons of Justice are two of the most underrated gems from the original PlayStation era. We remember playing the first game and being blown away by how incredible it looked at the time, especially that famously long cinematic intro, which in the late 90s was practically a guarantee that you were about to play something special. And in this case, it delivered great gameplay, a gritty sci-fi story, and a world unlike anything else on the PS1. The original G-Police dropped players into vertical takeoff and landing gunships, patrolling the neon-soaked domed city of Callisto, a setting clearly inspired by Blade Runner and cyberpunk noir. Its mix of flight combat, investigative missions, political intrigue, and atmospheric world-building was ambitious for 1997 and pushing the PlayStation hardware to its limits. The sequel, Weapons of Justice, released in 1999, improved almost everything. Not only was it faster and more polished, it also expanded the player's arsenal. Pilots could now command different vehicles beyond the iconic Havoc gunships, including hover tanks, armored ground units, and more specialized aircraft. It hinted at a much larger universe than the PS1 could fully express. Now imagine what a modern G-Police could be. With today's tech, a reboot could offer massive open-dome cities with real traffic, weather, and AI-driven crime, seamless transitions from aerial pursuit to ground-level action, dynamic policing systems where factions and criminal syndicates react to your choices, space-to-atmosphere gameplay, deep noir storytelling with modern cinematics and voice acting. Few games today combine cyberpunk, flight combat, and tactical policing the way G-Police once did. A modern take could be spectacular. And honestly, flying a heavily armed gunship through a neon megacity? It's hard to imagine a more perfect formula for a comeback. Number 1. Alundra was one of those games we bought purely on instinct. It looked like Zelda, it had that classic action-adventure vibe, and in the summer of 1998, a year after its 1997 release, we took a blind gamble. And honestly, it paid off. Alundra did not disappoint. The first Alundra is a genuine PS1 masterpiece. Beautiful 2D graphics with a SNES-like charm, tough puzzle dungeons, and a surprisingly dark story about entering people's dreams to save them from nightmares. Then came Alundra 2, A New Legend Begins, in 1999. And that title was not an understatement. It truly was a new legend, because the game had almost nothing in common with the original. And yes, weirdly enough, both games were developed by Matrix Software. Same studio, totally different design philosophy. While the first game had that warm, SNES-era pixel art look and a deep JRPG atmosphere, Alundra 2 jumped into PlayStation-era 3D, a style that has aged like sour milk. The tone shifted to lighthearted comedy, the story felt disconnected, and the emotional weight of the original was completely gone. Even back in the early 2000s, we remember playing it and thinking why it was so bad. Revisiting the sequel in 2025, the impression is the same. Compared to the first game, Alundra 2 feels out of sync, and when looking at the cutscenes, this makes sense. Don't get us wrong, the ambition of the game is high, but execution is not good.
Anyways.
In a weird way, Alundra 2 feel like a modern game. All that said, we still dream of a true Alundra revival, one that embraces the tone, style, and gameplay of the original. Imagine a modern 2D action RPG with enhanced SNES graphics, a game where you literally step into the dreams of villagers to uncover mysteries and secrets, and with a deep exploration system. If someone could make that, we'd be more than happy. Having played games for over 30 years, it's a bit difficult to accept we are getting older, but at least reminiscing about old game brings back the good memories. And dreaming about new entries from long-lost IPs is also fun. Tell us in the comments below if this list made sense or not. What did you miss? We hope you enjoyed this video.